longer do you think you can keep this up?
Hey everybody, Sol here. I have only one rule here: if it's animated, I'll comment on it. And as you may recall, 2 years ago, I reviewed a show made by one of my animation idols, Genndy Tartakovsky, namely Symbionic Titan. And spoilers for that review, I didn't like it so much. And, well, that seems to be what I do here. I seem to look at Mr. Tartakovsky's lesser quality works. But you know what? It's time to change that. It's time to ring in the new year and the new season of reviews with a look at his best work. A work that I have been dying to talk about for forever and a day. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to take a look at Samurai Jack. Samurai Jack is a 2D animated series created by Genndy Tartakovsky, produced by Cartoon Network Studios, and it aired on Cartoon Network from 2001 to 2004 with a total of 4 seasons and 52 episodes. The series won several awards during its airing, including 4 Emmy Awards, and it was announced in December 2015 that the show would be returning for a 5th and final season that would air on Adult Swim in 2017. What's that you say? I've made it perfectly clear that I love this show and there's no point in me talking about it? Why, whatever do you mean by that? And most strongly, Samurai Jack.
And Samurai fucking Jack.
I'd even go as far as to call this the Samurai Jack of animated movies, who you may know as the creator of Samurai Jack, like Gravity Falls and Samurai Jack. It's not a situation like Samurai Jack, and a heapin' helpin' of Samurai Jack. Shut up. Besides, what better time to review this than now, when the show is set to be revived on Adult Swim after 13 years? That's ground for a celebration, my friends, so sit back, relax, and enjoy Samurai Jack. I love shows like this, where the series itself does the plot recap for me in every episode, so I don't have to use the squishy, thinky bits inside my cranial carrying case. Let me just put on my best Mako Iwamatsu voice, and let's begin.
Long ago in a distant land, this guy, Aku, the shape-shifting master of darkness, unleashed an unspeakable evil. But a foolish samurai warrior wielding a magic sword stepped forth to oppose him. Before the final blow was struck, Aku tore open a portal in time and flung him into the future, where his evil is law. Now the fool seeks to return to the past and undo the future that is Aku.
You get all that? Well, that's technically the backstory for this series, but that is where it starts off. The core premise of the series follows the exploits of a time-displaced samurai who calls himself Jack, as he struggles to destroy Aku's tyrannical regime in the future and return to the past to defeat him once and for all, to save his family, his people, and to prevent the horrid future from ever happening. What this series ultimately boils down to is a classic good versus evil scenario, but as I've repeatedly said, a simple premise can be the most interesting. The way the various tales of Jack's travels, trials, and tribulations play out is handled with an elegant simplicity that I find most admirable, especially considering that most cartoons from 2001 weren't exactly known for their elegance? And yet, when I watched cartoons back in 2001, I opted to watch every single not-so-elegant series except for this one, including Braceface, a series that scared me so much as a kid that I refused to get braces even though I really needed them. And look where that got me! Much like Mononoke, that amazing anime series that I reviewed last summer, that's so brilliant and amazing and it's so full of likability and blah blah blah, and you really should watch it if you haven't already, this series also has only a couple characters to talk about. So, let the mastication begin. So the protagonist is called Jack, though that's not his real name. Jack is a samurai who's tasked with defeating Aku, and is trained all around the world throughout most of his life to achieve this goal. Though when he meets with Aku for what is supposed to be the final battle, Aku banishes Jack to the future. One has to wonder why he didn't just kill him on the spot, but whatever, it's not important. Jack then wanders the world in the stranglehold of Aku's totalitarian regime, searching for a way to return home and finish off Aku
once and for all.
Jack is a character who embodies all the best aspects of a protagonist. He's kind, but he's not a pushover. He's incredibly powerful and insanely badass, yet he has humility and self-awareness. He sacrifices his entire existence, including his own happiness, just to do what's right. Though he knows better than to act like a martyr. And that, to me, is the mark of a masterfully made character. Jack has no gimmicks or obnoxious traits hanging from his character belt. His pureness clearly comes from a place of genuine respect and love for who he is and what he hopes to achieve in defeating Aku. He's never too busy to help out someone in need, making me think that he and Wander from Wander Over Yonder would probably be good friends. Now that's a crossover I would actually watch. To express my feelings in the simplest way I can, I fucking love everything about Jack, even when he's a chicken, or naked, or traveling with a bootleg Totoro from Tonari no Totoro. But on the opposite side of the spectrum is the master of masters, the deliverer of destruction, the shogun of sorrow, motherfucking Aku! And of course the motherfucking part of his name had to be censored because, well, it's airing on a children's cartoon network, but trust me, his full name is motherfucking Aku. Would I lie to you? Aku is a small fragment of an enormous mass of pure evil that was once, long ago, destroyed by the gods Vishnu, Ra, and Odin. After landing on Earth, Aku's evil spread over the planet slowly like a virus, until eventually he became the absolute ruler of the entire world. And as leader, Aku is a cruel, remorseless, arrogant, and hateful sadist who delights in the torture and misery of others. Even with his merciless nature, though, Aku manages to be a consistent source of comic relief as well, with his over-the-top reactions and silly faces. Aku is the most villainous villain you'll ever encounter who doesn't devolve into complete over-exaggerated silliness like General Hein from Final Fantasy The Spirits Within, or Archibald Snatcher from the Box Trolls. It's interesting how Aku can be such an intimidating foe, taunting and deceiving Jack many times over the course of his journey, yet also be hilarious in his scheming and trickery. Needless to say, Aku is one fantastic specimen of an antagonist, and really helps elevate the scenario from commonplace to legendary in my book. Once again, I must say these words as a description for my feelings on these characters. Elegant simplicity. The show really knows how to take something simple and pure and elegantly mold it into something amazing and compelling without any visible stretch marks or blemishes. But let's move on to what makes this series so pleasing to my cortical basal gangliothalamo-cortical loop. It's the pleasure center of the brain. What? You don't know that? Come on, kids. Don't be a dope about dopamine! Are you guys ready for the avalanche of awesome that's about to come tumbling out of my mouth like last night's half-digested Philly cheesesteak? I bet you are. So open your mouths like hungry baby birds and prepare yourself for the wet, hot opinions that are gonna come excreting out of my mouth hole. I really need to think of less disgusting prose. Okay, so to crack open this massive mountain of majesty, let's start off with the visual style, which is almost incomparable with the level of beauty it exudes. Oh, to be certain, it's not a traditional beauty, but it's beautiful in its own unique way, so much so that other cartoons made a conscious effort to emulate its style. Nearly every single background is a work of art in and of itself, and perfectly set the mood, tone, and amount of atmosphere any scene requires. From scorching deserts to lush gardens, icy mountainsides to fiery lava pits, and dystopian cityscapes to spine-chilling haunted mansions. This series has it all, I tell you! And what it also has is an indisputable respect for its audience, despite airing on a children's cartoon network. This series doesn't talk down to you or treat you like an idiot. It has no qualms in filling your retinas with extreme badass violence and swordplay, nor does its characters feel the need to constantly be talking and making noise, as many cartoons do for fear of losing your attention. This series knows how to use silence to great effect, a skill that is almost completely lost on media as a whole, it seems. But when it's not using silence to convey emotion or tension, it's filling your ear canals with the sweet, percussive beats of an amazing score, which flawlessly capture the stress or levity of any situation. Actually, that's something I don't really mention all that much on this show that deserves a spotlight here. Sound design. The sound designers for this series, in all honesty, deserve an award the size of Europa for their incredible work here. Every scene's sound design does a perfect job at sucking you into the environment with the soothing rustling of leaves, the grinding of rusted metal, the dramatic clang of swords, or the gentle, watery whispers of a rolling river. It really serves to make you feel like you're watching a living, breathing world as opposed to just drawings on a cell sheet. Another thing that really brushes my baleen is the fact that this series thrives on negative reinforcement. If I were a more jaded individual, I'd call out this show for being a reverse brick wall series, in that Jack and Aku's fights are constantly escalating, yet Aku always pulls something out of his ass in order to escape, but I just can't quite slap that label on this package. Jack never succeeds in his efforts to defeat Aku and return to his own time, which is a refreshing break from other cartoons where the protagonists are just the goddamn best at everything for no reason, any conflict can be solved in 22 minutes, and
everything was just peachy!
It goes to show that constant failing can be just as entertaining to watch as constant success. I seriously just can't give this series enough praise. I know that sounds like blind fanboy jabbering to you, but it's true. It brings together all the best aspects of the many facets of animation to bring you a truly spectacular spectacle. You would think I'd have nothing bad to say about this series. Well, you're wrong, you stupid festering piles of dog shit. I'm sorry, that was a little joke. I love all you guys unconditionally. I really do. But if you ever come to my house, I will kill you. Only one thing comes to mind when talking about the bad things in this series, and it's such an unfortunate thing that I'm just going to have to hug this random kitten in order to feel better. I'm still not happy. It's true, there's only one bad thing in this series that's not a nitpick, though it is a rather frustrating flaw that I hate that I have to detail. And that is that this series has no conclusion. Not only that, the series ends with an episode about taking care of a fucking baby. And as you people are no doubt aware by now, I hate babies and I loathe this type of plot. Now, as it stands, the 5th season is set to air in March of this year, which is supposed to give a proper conclusion to this series, but since that hasn't happened yet, my opinion still stands. Why not shuffle the episode order a little to make Jack vs. Aku the final episode? Well, whatever. Not much else I can say, except fucking babies. Phew. Now that that's all said and done, I can stem the tide of this tsunami of awestruck salivation and talk about my least favorite and favorite episode. So let's do just that, shall we? Really, when considering my least favorite episode, there's only 2 that come to mind. Let me stress that these episodes are not bad by any means, they just don't press my panini the way the others do. So the runner-up would have to be Jack and the Farting Dragon, but the grand prize winner is Jack vs. Dimongo the Soul Collector. In this episode, Jack faces off against Dimongo, a soul collector who's sent by Aku to imprison Jack's essence. The reason I dislike this episode more than the others is mostly just because of Dimongo himself, who has an incredibly annoying voice. Plus, this episode is the one that scoots closest to being a brick wall series, since Jack's victory is achieved by something he pulls out of his ass. Not a terrible episode, it just has some aggravating pieces in its puzzle. So this one's a bit weird, folks. I actually have 2 favorite episodes, but I have one favorite comedic episode and one favorite dramatic episode. The reason I put them together is because there's no way I could possibly choose between which one I like more. I love them both equally, like the non-existent children I'll never have. So, my favorite comedic episode would have to be Aku's Fairy Tales, while my favorite dramatic episode is the Aku infection. In Aku's Fairy Tales, Aku starts to worry that the terrible stranglehold he has inflicted upon the world is loosening due to the tales of Jack's bravery and heroism resonating with the children. Fearing rebellion, Aku tells the children fairy tales of his own creation to try and paint Jack as the villain. Conversely, in the Aku infection, Aku has an inexplicable cold, which causes him to cough up a tiny portion of himself, which infects Jack. Jack desperately seeks a cure for the virulent evil coursing through his body before he's completely consumed by Aku's evil essence. With Aku's Fairy Tales, I adore this episode because it shows that even an incredibly intimidating and fearsome despot like Aku can be a source of pure hilarity, and still come out as a solid villain on the other end. With the Aku infection, I love it for the whole personal pain angle that I've talked about before, only it's much more powerful here, since I care for Jack so much as a character. Both episodes are a delight to watch, and I'd recommend them to the moon and back. Samurai Jack is a rare jewel glimmering amongst the admittedly bland and often mediocre box of treasures that is the animation industry. If it weren't for the fact that this show was halted far before its time, and the fact that it ends on one of the most stock and irritating scenarios out there, I'd have no hesitation giving this series a perfect score. I give Samurai Jack
4.5 eyes out of 5.
So, Samurai Jack. Is it watchable? Let my voice ring out throughout the infinite expanse of the cosmos! Is it enjoyable? Undeniably, yes! With its pulse-pounding action, great soundtrack, amazing atmosphere, lovable characters, and beautiful artwork, there's just no way I can say no to that question. Is it memorable? Well, considering that it's being resuscitated after 13 years of dormancy, just because of the impact it left on people and how much they love it, how much they keep it in their hearts, I'd have to say, yes indeed. Yes, indeed. Now then, thanks for watching my review, but if you'll excuse me, I need to take a nap. I've been feeling a bit under the weather lately, and I think I really should rest a bit. So, I'll see you next week, people.
Seems we have a guest. Well. I didn't think you'd be able to find me here, and I thought I hid myself so well. Well, you can just go home, The decay's already started. But I plan to have a little fun this time around. You can stand there forever, but I'm not giving this body up. I finally have a body of my own, and there's no way you're going to take that from me. There's no way you're taking it from me.
Want to stay up to date with all the latest EyeofSol news? You can follow me on Twitter as well as on Facebook at twitter.com/EyeofSol299 and facebook.com/EyeofSol. I update them every day, so if you want to check out news on the show as well as updates, just follow the links here. Hey everybody, thanks for watching my review of Samurai Jack. I hope you enjoyed it. It's great to be back after a long season break hiatus, and I'm happy to be making reviews again. If you like this review, I would appreciate a like and a share, as well as a subscription to my channel, because I always appreciate that. Plus, I have a Patreon now, so if you want to check that out, link's in the description, as well as here on the screen for you. And that is pretty sweet, I gotta say. If you want to check out the previous Sol episodes, you can see the annotations playing on the video right now. Or if you want to check out my various social media sites, you can see my links to my Twitter page, Facebook page, and the new Patreon page right there on the screen for you. If you have an idea for an animated series or movie you want me to comment on, you can leave me a message in the YouTube comments on any one of my social media sites, or just let me know in any way you can think of to let me know what you want to see, and I'll add it to my list. Okay? Thanks again for watching everybody, and I will see you next week for another movie review.